Hello, ghouls and ghoulies. Welcome to Scary and Bizarre Short Stories. I'm your host, Larry Lee Roden. This story is a devilish tale. I've often wondered about writers and the things they scribble down. Can a writer blend into his story? Or worse, can his story blend into the writer? That's an interesting thought. Or is it? I hope you enjoy this story. It's called The Writer. It's a perfect night to write. I'd had a long day and some quiet, relaxing time with my laptop would be welcome. My thoughts ran rapid as I began piecing together another scary and bizarre short story. I wanted this story to be scary, deadly, and end with a unique twist. A murder committed by something terrifying, some type of monster. I opened my laptop and started writing. I was unsure of the title, so I named it The Monster. I laughed, thinking I could always change it. I was eager to write, so I started tapping on the keys. It was a dark and stormy night. Thick clouds hung over the small town, blocking any light from the moon. The thunder echoed overhead, and the rain was heavy. As it fell, flashes of lightning lit up John's windows. There were no storms in the forecast, and the weatherman said the skies should be clear. John peeked out his window, surprised by the sudden change in the weather. From what he could see, nothing stirred. That wasn't unusual on nights like this. Most people stay indoors where it's safe, dry, and comfortable. However, wicked creatures in our world love nights like this. You see, on dark and rainy nights, when the moon no longer lights up our world, monstrous things creep out of the shadows, preying on the living. On nights like this, they're eager to spread their evil. I stopped writing, thinking about my next line. I thought it was strange. My town wasn't expecting a storm, but I could hear the thunder rumbling overhead. Lightning lit up my windows and the rain pelted my roof. I didn't think much about it, as meteorologists sometimes can be wrong. I peeked out my window. I was glad to be inside, safe, dry, and comfortable. As I stared into the darkness, nothing stirred. I smiled, thinking how odd it was. I had just written these same events in my fictional short story. I began writing again. What looked to be the silhouette of a man slipped through the dark streets, ensuring he kept to the shadows. He knew exactly where he was, and, more importantly, where he was going. However, he didn't want to be seen. He stood in the rain watching the house. He wasn't sure who lived there, but it didn't matter. Something was manipulating him, guiding his actions. The urge to go to the house was overwhelming, so he walked toward the door. He could smell the warm blood pulsating through the man's veins. He licked his lips. The man turned the knob, but the door wouldn't open. He gave it a swift kick. John was on his sofa working on his laptop when he heard the loud thud. He saw the front door burst open. The lightning flashed as the rain soaked the floor. A figure dressed in a thick overcoat with a hood stepped into his house. John watched the water drip from his coat, pooling around his feet. The figure stared at John, and although the lights were low, John could see his face. It was hideous and monstrous. As he removed his hood, his eyes glowed. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth and fangs. The lightning flashed and the thunder roared. I stopped writing once more. "Okay," I whispered. "I've got a setting. I've got a stormy night and a monster in John's house. How am I going to end this tale? Can John escape this horrible monster? Or will this monstrous beast brutally murder John?" The lightning flashed, lighting up my windows. The rain hadn't slowed as I could hear it pelting my roof. I sat thinking about the ending of my story. I wanted something shocking with an unsuspecting twist. I wondered what I should write next. Before I could write another word, I heard a noise at my front door. Glancing toward the entrance, I watched as the doorknob slowly began turning. I knew the door was locked, but I wondered who could be turning the knob. They hadn't knocked, and I wasn't expecting company. I heard a loud thud, and the door burst open. The lightning flashed as the rain soaked the floor. A figure dressed in a thick overcoat with a hood stepped into my house. I watched the water drip from his coat, pooling around his feet. I pushed my laptop aside and rose. The presence of this creature startled me, and my hands shook. I was horrified. The figure stared at me, and although the lights were low, I could see his face. It was hideous and monstrous, just like the creature in my story. As he removed his hood, his eyes glowed. He smiled, showing his sharp teeth and fangs. He walked toward me. "Who are you? And what are you doing in my house?" I shouted with a quivering voice. I could feel my heart racing. "I'm the monster in your story," the creature said, flashing a hideous grin. "You created me with your words. I'm here to help you with the ending." He smiled as a low growl echoed from his chest. "You wanted an unsuspecting twist. Well, here I am," he said, licking his lips. I shook in horror, knowing the short story I had just written had come to life. The monster standing in my home was created by my hand, and he wasn't here to help with the ending of my story. He was here for one reason: to brutally murder me. "You're not real," I screamed. "You're just a figment of my imagination, a fictional character. I just made you up." "You think?" said the monster, laughing. Another growl echoed from his chest. As the lightning flashed and the thunder roared, the creature charged toward the unsuspecting rider. I hope you enjoyed this scary and bizarre short story. After writing this story, I'm thinking maybe I should start painting. It might be safer. Oh well, I'm hoping you can't write about events and they come true. If I could, I guess I'd write a short story about a writer who wins the lottery. Now, wouldn't that be nice? If you'd be so kind as to subscribe and give this story a thumbs up, I would appreciate it. As always, thank you for visiting my channel.